Depending on where you live, every time you drive to work, take your kids to the park, or enjoy some of the county's most scenic treasures, you receive services from Clark County Public Works. Recently, we spoke with Ken Lader,
online
Public Works
that
Director,
people can look at.
about some of the department's current projects and future challenges.
Hello, I'm Jim Demo with Clark County Close-Up. Thank you so much for meeting with us today.
Thanks for having me, Jim.
In the open of this interview, we briefly mentioned just some of the services provided by Public Works. How is your department organized to handle such a variety of tasks?
Yeah, thank you, Jim. Of course, you mentioned the county roads and the bridges, which we're responsible for, and maintaining parks. But we also have several other divisions. We have 8 divisions in Public Works right now. And some of the other major ones are, clean water. We also have a finance division that supports us across the department. But essentially, we're set up with our division managers and all the different programs to provide those services across the county. We also handle fleet for the entire county, so all the vehicles. And over 300 employees, and I think that's probably the key, is that all of the employees doing their hard work to make sure we can provide those services every day. So,
Great. Summer was a busy time for road work around the county. What were some of the major road projects worked on this summer, and then kind of what's their status and when will they be completed?
Sure, great question. So people are probably more familiar during the summer. We do a lot of our roadway preservation work. So a lot of paving, chip sealing, making sure that we can maintain the roads that are in okay condition, keep them up to speed. Most of that has wrapped up now, but you probably also saw we did a major roundabout that we installed to replace a signal at 119th and 152nd. And that's all complete now. And we had several other projects along the ways, but those are some major ones that people would be familiar with and probably got tied up in traffic around as well. We're just about to finish our very first project on the 179th Street corridor, which is exciting for us to have that underway, and that's at the intersection with 50th.
So how are these road projects funded? And is there adequate funding to fund all the needs?
Yeah, so great question. I guess I'll go into the weeds a little bit here with this question, but about 1/3 of our roads our projects are funded with what we call the County Road Fund. I'll talk more about that in a second. And then the other 2/3 are really come from traffic impact fees or grants. So the road fund itself, that 1/3, is about 10% motor vehicle fuel tax, and then some other kind of smaller areas, but then primarily property tax. So that makes up, again, like about 1/3 of what we do, and then we really work hard with our programming group to leverage those county road, those local dollars with grants that range really from the federal level, state, local, regional partners. And we leverage those partnerships so that we can kind of make our projects go as far as possible with those local road funds.
Okay. So Clark County joined other agencies earlier this year to advocate for road worker safety. Why is it important for drivers to slow down in work zones?
Yeah, such a great question and very important. So in 2023, the statistics for road worker deaths showed that that deaths doubled in that year. Mm-hmm. So really pretty tragic, and so needing some attention. And it's important when we're in those work zones for people to really just slow down, not be distracted, and be patient with the situation. We understand that road construction can provide unexpected circumstances for people, but really our workers are out there to provide a service to you and to the county, and we want to make sure that they stay safe and can get home to their families as well. Yeah, it's just a super important issue. We do have more information online that people can look at and see more statistics about why this is a developing situation, but Most of our crash data shows that over 50% of crashes occur because of distraction or because of speeding. And obviously those two things don't work, don't mix at all when we're in a construction zone and trying to work right there next to traffic.
Great, thank you. We are recording this interview in the fall, one of the last nice fall days, as I'm hearing. Winter driving season's right ahead of us. How is your department prepping for winter roads?
Yeah, thank you for asking. So we do several things to prepare, and as I mentioned, now that we're off the main season for doing our pavement preservation work, the crews are working closely with our fleet services division. They go through all of the equipment that might be used in a snow or ice response, make sure that it's functional in working order. They will go through, we create a lot of brine, the salt the salt and water that's put down on the roads to melt. So they go through that equipment, make sure it's adequate. But they're also, the crews that will be driving the route, they will get out there in those vehicles. They'll put the plow on the front of the equipment and they'll drive the route so they can understand some of the challenges, where they're going to turn around, where the end of a route might be. They're setting their 24-hour schedule so that it's not unexpected to them if we have a call out, who's going to be on and when. So all of those activities are happening right now so that we can be prepared for the eventual event that is winter.
So when that winter event arrives, either ice or snow, kind of what's the priority for response?
Yeah, you will see us working on what we call the primary and secondary routes. So we will not be in your local neighborhood. We won't be plowing next to your driveway or your car if you're in a neighborhood or near a bunch of houses on local streets. We're going to be working on the streets next to those that are collectors and arterials, or what we call a primary or secondary route. So that's our priority, and we run those routes regularly. It wouldn't be, unlikely for us to be on those 2 or 3 times during a 24-hour period in a response.
And if people want to stay informed and get ready for the winter and snow event, where can they check?
Yeah, well, we've done some partnering with local agencies to get better messaging out. We did that last year. We plan to do that again this year. But I would say really just stay tuned to your local news. You can certainly get on our website or our social media with the county, and we'll have regular updates for you there.
Great. The County Council recently considered making adjustments to stormwater rates. Why are these rate changes being proposed, and what services do these fees pay for?
Yeah, great questions. So this is a little bit complicated, I'll try to stay out of the weeds. But essentially, the county is under a permit so that we can pollute, and the pollutant is stormwater. And when it hits our roads and runs off, it picks up oils. When it hits your roof and runs off, if it's going into a ditch somewhere and into a stream, that's considered a pollutant. So we have this permit that's called the MPDES permit. I won't go through the acronym for you, but essentially that permit requires us to be compliant, and it's administered through the Department of Ecology, and it's part of the Clean Water Act so that we can keep our rivers, lakes, all that water resource that we love in Clark County, so that we can preserve it and keep it clean. So our main service is that, right, to make sure that we aren't releasing polluted water into those streams. And we do that through stormwater facilities. We do that through cleaning out catch basins, through street sweeping. The fee and the adjustment that we're requesting really reflects that when the program started for the county back in 2000, we didn't have any rate to really hire anybody to work on it. We set a rate at the time, a fee, and that was updated in 2015, and it hasn't been reviewed or updated since then, since 9 years ago. So this new adjustment reflects us looking at and modeling all the services that we think are necessary. Now that permit is reissued by the state each 5 years, and so every time it is reissued, there are more compliance and constraints that are put on it, so we can do better and better at keeping our water clean. And that means more requirements put on the county to make sure that we're providing those services. So our clean water team has done a great job of kind of scouring through all the services that we already provide, looking at what needs to be updated and enhanced to bring us up to date and keep us in compliance, but also looking at things that might be more proactive for us, like pipe inspections, say, and some of our aging infrastructure. So those are some of the elements that we're looking at with the new rate and the proposal that's before council right now.
Thank you. Are there any other major projects managed by Public Works you'd like to highlight?
Oh, sure. We have so much work going on right now, and I think just to highlight a few things coming in 2025, I mentioned that we're finishing up the work at 50th on 179th, but our first really major project work will begin next year at the intersection with 29th Avenue. That's going to involve 2 bridges on 2 of the quadrants, really raising up the grade through the road there and creating a roundabout. There will be several roundabouts when we're done through that corridor. That whole corridor is really being developed to improve that interaction with the interchange at I-5, which has been a problem near the fairgrounds. So we're looking forward to the start of that work, but it will mean, inconvenience for the public and for the neighbors up there as we get that started and go through the next several years. But we have Heritage Farm wetland restoration, which will be starting on the historic site there. That will be next year. The Curtin Creek Community Park, which is up north of 119th near 72nd. That's a next year project. We have another roundabout at Risto at 187th. We'll be widening and improving 152nd from north of Padden to 99th Street. So, and those are just the big ones. So several things going on. Our staff has been very busy and doing great work. So.
I'd say so. Because of the pandemic, Public Works held off some of the outreach events you normally have. Have some of these events returned, and do you have more events planned for 2025?
Yeah, interesting question. Believe it or not, I would say that 2024 didn't look any different for us. And sure, in 23, we were still kind of figuring out some hybrid meetings. But I can say in my recollection, the last year and a half, we've probably held as many, if not more, of our outreach events than we normally did. So I'd say we're definitely post-pandemic as far as our outreach. One of the things that we learned, though, is that we can still hold a hybrid meeting and make that available for more people. So we're doing that still frequently when we can. But our community engagement and inclusion group has done a fantastic job working really with all of those divisions that I mentioned to help us with outreach. So whether it's transportation or clean water or parks, open houses, working with each of those divisions and their staff to get that word out to the public and increase the outreach. And was there another part to that question? Sorry. Just for 2025.
Yeah, 2025.
Yeah, so I would say I think probably we will be doing more and more outreach than ever. So for instance would be if council approves the clean water rate adjustment, we would be looking at providing more staff to the community engagement and inclusion team so that they can do more work to get the word out and educate the public as far as clean water issues, as an example. So.
Okay. With growing demand for services and the tightening of resources, what changes have your department made to keep up and become more efficient?
Yeah, great question. So, one of the things that I don't think I understood early in my career is like I wanted to be very efficient, but when we are working with the public dollar, especially on roads or bridges or parks or clean water, we have this extra layer of compliance, and efficiency isn't always the thing that we can achieve. And that's because we are required to make sure that we are spending those dollars and that we're being good stewards of the public dollars. So efficiency is difficult, But I will say we've worked really hard in the last 2 years to document our processes in ways that make sense, that are available to staff. We've been really trying to shift our culture. In fact, I would say if someone came to me and said, but Ken, this is the way we've always done it, that's actually, I guess to speak in soccer terms, a yellow flag, right? Because I'm not concerned about how we've always done it. That may indicate that we are just kind of going through the motions. So we've really taken a look and kind of thoroughly, when those opportunities arise, to see if there's a way we can improve a process, who we can communicate better with, and how we can kind of shift our culture and continue to shift it to a way that is, transparent, compliant with the public dollar, but also as efficient as possible. We've also slowly kind of restructured Public Works in some of those program areas so that they're better aligned with how we deliver projects and how we can, provide proficiency internally to ourselves to get things done better.
Right. If people want more information regarding Public Works, where can they check?
Sure, and I have this on my very last page of notes. But
I have Clark County Public Works, 564-397-2446.
Yeah, and that is our customer service line, so people can certainly call there for any of the Public Works activities that they're concerned about.
And clark.wa.gov/public-works.
That's right, yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for meeting with us, and good luck with this winter. Hopefully it'll be a quiet one.
I hope so too. Thank you, Jim. Appreciate it.